Hey everybody, and welcome back. Alright, it's Monday morning. The sun is actually shining. It finally stopped raining yesterday afternoon after a little thunderstorm. So we'll get stuck in, carry on. Don't worry about this. As I say, I'd been out riding it, so I got to find a couple of things. So I just pulled it up here. I slightly modified the chain guard because I hadn't made it high enough at the front, and a little bit of slap of chain was catching on it. And that always, because of the nature of it being made of the light alloy sheet and it resonating, it always sounds absolutely awful. So I just did a couple of little jobs. I'll be getting it down in a minute. Alright, so first thing, important message for, I've forgotten it. Hold on, don't go away. See, I've written it down. This message is for Mrs. Two-Stroke 350. Sorry, that's the only name I know to go by. I hope you're feeling a lot better. You're out of hospital and things are looking good. Alright, so you take care of yourself. Right, so what are we going to do? Well, we're going to get that down first of all. And I had two things I was going to tell you. Oh, a lot of comments about my query as to how you like the videos to be laid out. So not just general consensus, the vast majority of people said you'd like to see the stuff in. A, you found it interesting, and B, there was a surprising number of people who said that it had been particularly useful, that you'd been wondering how something was done, and I went ahead and did it. And as always, of course, you saw if there are any problems in the way that I did it or that it has to be done. Okay, so we will carry on just trying to strike that balance of not being boringly repetitive with a job and actually showing what gets done to get the job finished. So as I say, take this down, get it out of the way. And then what we're going to do, well, funnily enough, having said that, some of it you're not going to see. I'm going to lace up the front wheel. Well, I'll maybe show you that a bit because it's a slightly different hub. And then we are going to repair that broken mounting on the mounting's on the chain case, I think, and the bolt goes through a boss on the gearbox to bolt into the back of the chain case to hold it on. So we've got to do that, decide how to do it, because we've got a couple of options. I'll say today's Monday, so today I will order some bearings, and then, well, it'll be tomorrow afternoon. So anyway, we'll be able to put all the bearings into the bottom of the cases and put the crank in, and then we can do, as I say, there's a little bit of work required in fitting that slightly complicated electronic ignition, because obviously the usual ones that were fitted on these and the Triumph and the Royal Enfield, those all replaced a Lucas alternator, and the Lucas alternators are all the same size, so sort of the three mounting holes are always there, same place. But this is completely different. So to stop me waffling, let's get on and do some work. Right, so there's the broken bit, and there's where the bolt goes through onto there. Let me open you out a bit here. I'm not going to be able to show you. Gearbox goes up this way. Well, that's the back end of it. That goes on there. Make sure you can see here. I think so. That goes on there. Bolt goes through into this piece. Alright, so what I've done so far is give it a look at. We've got a couple of ways we can do this. There's some thread in the broken part, and there's almost a 1/4 inch of thread further down. It's 1/4 inch BSF. So we could cut this chunk off completely, weld a new piece on, use the mounting on the gearbox to line up, drill it and tap it. But I thought what we'd do first is try and just rescue what's there. So this is a 1/4 inch tap. I managed to get that in to clean all that up. And that. Right, so we're going to put that in there like that. We'll clean all this up round here with a carbide burr, because you can see there's a lot of muck in that. So we'll get right back to clean casting, and then we'll see if we can't build this up. Because the thing with trying it this way first is if I make a mess of it, then I can just cut this off anyway and weld a block in and go to the idea of lining everything up and drilling it and then re-tapping this. So let me get this cleaned up and we'll see if we can clag some alloy on there. So there it is, all nice and shiny from the carbide burr. I've washed everything in alcohol. So we'll put that in there like that. Now then, the thing I've got to do, as we found out when I did the head, is I'm going to make sure I don't touch this with the arc, or I melt a bit of that and then that's, you know, that just ruins the thread when you're screwing it out. So I'm going to have to form the puddle back here so that the molten flows in and not follow it with the arc. So I've just sharpened that. Or maybe let me do that again. Right, let's run it in the sharpener again. So I've got a nice fine point, and what I'm going to do is turn the frequency up. You know, at one time your AC welder would only run at 60 Hertz, but the newer ones like this HTP I can turn it up, because apparently, from what I have discovered, the higher the frequency that it's going positive, negative, like that, the more focused the arc is. At 60 Hertz, it's sort of a biggish arc. You know, sort of like, if you imagine the arc like a flame, it's a sort of biggish wide flame. And then as you increase the frequency, the arc gets tighter and tighter, so I can hopefully keep it away from this Allen bolt. So I'm not going to try and show you because you won't be able to see anything. Let me have a go and then we'll come back. So far so good. I've stopped a couple of times and screwed this out to make sure I don't sort of catch the thread and ruin it. So that is screwing in there nicely. Actually, I can leave it in now, so I'll give it another good wash off. So I just have a little bit more to build up here, and then I'll clean up this back part. So that, I think, is built up enough for me to be able to file it all back to shape. So this is the moment of truth. And as you know, these aren't staged because you've seen enough of them where I've got it wrong. But hopefully we didn't catch this at all. When I was further down, I caught it a couple of not enough to not be able to screw it out. I'm going to get it out and you'll be able to see, but I did run the die down it. Let's see. Ow, this is hot. There, you can just see it. And there. But anyway, that's high enough to be able to file that down. And there you go. Filled the back up a bit, so not that you'll see that. And that's all big enough. Let that cool down completely, and then I'll use the file to flatten that off, and then we'll use a carbide burr the big one, to go around and get that looking good. So I'll bring you back when I've done that. So I've been working on the top. This course was the right level, and there was a piece here. You remember it was broken around here, so there was a piece there that was the original level as that. So I started off with a coarse file, making sure I was good like that, and then finally a big, broad, finer file that I could put down and almost draw file it. So I could do that until finally it all had the file mark. So now what I'm going to do is just clean that up a little bit. We've got all that thread, look how it's still going. See, that's the bottom. Oh, and that's coming out nice and easily, so that's cut a good clean that thread up. And there's a big mounting bolt in the centre of this, bit like the Enfield chain case. So this, where is it? Very nice. Okay, right, let me put the bigger burr in and I'll get this shaped up. And there it is, all finished, all okay. And there's the job finished and bolted up. See, that goes through there. And as I said, there's a big centre bolt that holds the case on. Alright. So that is jobbed. Alright, we're going to spoke up this wheel. Now, as I've mentioned before, if you really want to know about this, go and look at the couple of ones in the first BM 250 trials bike set of videos, and I'll talk about this in great detail. But I wanted to show you this because one of the things I always mention is to put in the inside spokes first. And this hub is slightly unusual in that on the brake drum side, all of the spokes are inside. Well, lorries today, you can see here this is sort of a la Triumph, where the spokes just go in like that, in one in, another one in. So you can't get them wrong because they can't go in like that. That's the way they've got to go. Alright, and for those of you who are wondering why I say put the inside spokes in first, it's because if you imagine, I'm going to move you slightly, I think, here, open you right out. Hope I can show you this. If you can imagine my fingers as spokes on this side, right? The outside spokes, right, I can push in and they go in no problem. But the inside spokes, if I try to put them in last, when they go in, you can't do anything with them, right? There would be more spokes there. So you always put the inside spokes in, and when I say inside, they go, it's confusing, they go in from the outside. So these we put in first when there's no spokes there, so we can wangle them about and get them right. Now, as I say, with this hub, they're all inside spokes on that side. So I'll put them all in and lace the rim up, which came up really well. I'll say well enough for me not to spend a couple of $100 on a new rim. So let me put all these in. We'll put these in and then put it to the rim, and then, as I say, these are just so easy to put in, and I've got these marked inner and outer so that I know which is which. Alright. Oh, before I forget, last bit of video when I was doing the alloy welding, I said that I'd given it a good clean with alcohol. Why? I don't know. It's acetone, of course, that I use to degrease it. And also, my MasterCard didn't have the roller bearings I wanted. So I thought, if I've got to go to a bearing place to get the right bearings, I might as well just order everything I can from Villiers now and pay another few dollars for shipping some more stuff. And don't forget, I always forget things. Remember the Enfield, how many times I had to reorder? Anyway, let me do this and stop me from talking. So that's all of the drum side ones in. Was really easy to do this one, of course, because I had the other wheel there. So I was able to check where the hole is for the... God, I don't know what's the matter with me this morning. The hole for the inner tube valve to go through, and I was able to look and see that it was the right hand point in one of these inner two. Hold on a second. Oh, that one was slow. That the inner of these two, as they cross over, goes to the right, and that was there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, the next one pointing right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then of course from there it's 2, 2, 2, 2. So let me put in these other ones now. Right, so there's that done. Actually, when I took a close look at these, there wasn't much difference inner and outer, but there was a slight difference. Anyway, as I say, I was fortunate in that I could check the other wheel to make sure everything was right. So you'll notice there's no wheel spindle, and that's because I don't have the new bearings for it yet. But I just had a quick... I've sort of taken them all up to the same place on the spokes, and I've just put a straight edge across the drum. And it's basically spot on, 15/16 off the rim in 4 places. So it'll be really easy to true up when I do get them. Alright, while all this was happening, two other things happened. One was I got a phone call from Steam Shop. This is Tuesday. He's meandering home from Florida. When he, both on the way down and on the way up, he has friends and relatives, him and Debbie, his wife. So they always stop off a day here, a day there. So he'll be back for the beginning of next week, which to you is the week that's just starting, because you'll be watching this on Sunday. He'll be back Sunday night, Monday morning, sort of thing. All right, the other thing that happened was this came. Ta-da! It's a pair of circlip pliers. And I know I didn't order them. There's absolutely nothing on the outside or inside of this. So I'm assuming some kind soul who watches me struggling on with things bought me those. So as I said, there's nothing to let me know who they're from. I thank you very much, whoever it is. It's very kind indeed. Alright, so the other thing is, I was going to say, there's no hurry to true this because virtually nobody seems to have an IRC front tyre. Everybody's got 4x18 rears, but nobody has a 275/21 front. I checked a bunch of places and they're all out of stock. So as soon as we can't put a tyre on this, there's no hurry to get the bearings. And I think what I'm going to do is order everything bar the pit. I told you this earlier, didn't I? Yeah, because I remember saying that when I did the Enfield engine, I had to keep ordering stuff. I'd order things and then I'd find one thing I missed and then one other thing. So anyway, we'll just put that to one side and get on with something else. Right, I'm running out of things to show you. It's Wednesday. I'm going to take the back wheel apart and order a rim for it. But I just put in an order with Villiers. Wouldn't take my PayPal thing, so I used my Visa card. I only have one credit card. Wouldn't take that, so I used my MasterCard / bank card. Wouldn't take that, so I thought, bugger it, I'll phone them. So I phoned them, and they're not open on a Wednesday. So, as I say, really until I work on the engine, and I can't get tyres, I don't know what I'm going to show you. Anyway, I'll put her on and we'll see what turns up. Oh, my little slip of paper. I did get an email from John Young. Thank you very much, John. John sent me the circlip pliers. Very kind of you. Thank you. Alright, so the delays just keep piling up. So I thought I would get all this done. A lot of degreasing and everything, and I've just phoned my sandblaster. Yes, he can do it, but he's going away for a few days. So I can't even take it till next Monday, and he'll do it next week. So I'll get everything, there's some bits that have to be masked off, and make sure if any of you are taking a bike frame to be sandblasted, make sure you get all the grease off it. I've mentioned this before, but you would think sandblasting takes everything off, but it doesn't take soft things off, because things like blobs of grease and old muck and stuff, they just absorb the impact of the blast media, and it doesn't bring them off. So anything like that, all bits of electrician's tape and what have you that have been holding wires on, you've got to get it all off, or when you get the frame back it'll still be there. So shoot, now I've got to think of something else. Can't do the front wheel because I don't have a tyre. Can't do the back wheel because I don't have a rim. Can't do the engine because I don't have the parts I need. Can't get the painting done because the sandblaster's not available for, we'll get none for a week. Okay. Well, what I can do is go and have some lunch, so let me do that. So I went to Central Wheels website at lunchtime. Thought I'd order the rim, and when I had Greeves, I went through it all. It listed about 5 different rims. So I've come out and taken the wheel apart. It has a cush rubber drive, and just as I was taking it apart, I heard something drop, and the nuts are held in there, look. So I've got to try and find those couple of nuts. Alright, so we'll give that a clean up. It's a bit rusty in there. It's a 6-inch brake plate. See what I can find out. Alright, so I'm doing the boring bit, getting this stuff ready for the sandblaster. The more I get into Greeves, the less impressed I am with them. So, first of all, I've ordered the rear rim. I said yesterday that when I went on their website, Central Wheel, they had 5 different rims. I meant different hubs. So I worked out which was the right hub, so I got that ordered. I phoned Villiers this morning. Villiers were very helpful. The guy was really good, chap there. So all the parts are ordered, including, as I say, the chap was very good. He sort of said, okay, well, if you're doing that, you should buy this, and so we're really well set. So I started doing this. Went to knock the outer race of the taper roller bearing, and this thing was absolutely chock-a-block with grease. I mean, the entire thing was grease, so it was awful to clean out. And when I was poking along, punch down to get on the back side of the bearing, I'm knocking, it didn't seem to go right. And you remember there's a sort of long threaded rod that goes from the bottom yoke to the top yoke? Well, to line it up, they have this washer thing just spot welded, tack welded on both sides. So you couldn't get at the bearing at all at the top end. The bottom end, I can't find anything to get at it. Oh, and by the way, half the bronze welding on this frame, they didn't even take the flux off. You know, the sort of, for those of you who've done bronzing / brazing with, pardon me, the flux, it forms like a glass, well, it's borax. It forms a hard glassy substance. Here's a useless piece of information for you. Old method of analysis for finding out which metals were in something was you would get a piece of platinum wire, make a little eye in the end of it, heat it up red hot and dip it into borax, sodium borate, and it forms this colourless bead in the centre. Then you dip that into a solution of the thing you were trying to find out what metal was in it, and you put it back in the flame, and the metal would fluoresce, colour the bead, and like sodium would be yellow, and God, I can't remember them all now. I think potassium's red, and so on. And you would see the colour and you could say, aha, there's such and such a metal there. Nowadays you have a large, extremely expensive machine called an X-ray fluorescence machine which does it. And that can tell you how much is there as well as what is. Anyway, as I say, a lot of the bronzing still has the flux on it, never cleaned it off. So what I'm going to do here, I can't get into the back of this at all, is I'm going to weld a little bit of something across there so I can knock it out. Also, I've been told about this for roller bearings which come apart that are in cases in awkward places. And I think they're talking about MIG here. You run a bead of weld around the inside of it, and when that cools, of course, it shrinks a bit and it pulls them in and you can get them out. So we'll see. Let me find something to bridge this and weld in here, and then we'll go from there. Right, so there's that welded it in. I've welded it in 4 places. Let me move you and we'll see if we can knock this bearing brace out. Right, let's see what we can do. Alright, jobbed. So, I think there's a metal insert in there as well, actually. Okay, so don't throw away your old ball races. That's what I used in there. It's just the right size. You could have got it out with a blind bearing puller and a slide hammer, but the one I've got only goes up to 30 millimeters. What's that? Over 1.5 inches. And that still wasn't big enough. So anyway, there's that out of there. Well, I'm nearly done actually. One of the things I've noticed suddenly over the last few years, funny enough, I have a friend who said to me, of all the milestones, you really feel it when you get to 70, is I'm not as strong as I used to be. Got days in the steelworks, I can pick stuff up like you wouldn't believe. So we're going to do a little job that requires the rotary table, or at least I hope I'm going to use it, and it's bloody heavy. So I laid out some money a little while ago, not a huge amount, bought one of these hydraulic tables, so that instead of having to get this great big thing out here and then get the rotary table out of it, I can now just do that and take it over to the mill. Actually, what we're going to do is we're going to take the rotary table out of here. I'll put the box back. And of course I shouldn't be bending over it. Right, even the box is heavy actually. So let me wheel this over there, put it on the mill table, and then we'll show you what I'm planning to do. Right, there's the rear sprocket for this bike. It's alloy, it's a 428, and it's good enough. It's just starting to show a little bit of wear, not much, but 64 teeth. I think that is alloy, isn't it? Yes. I'm looking for something to do. It's maybe going to be a week before I get any stuff. So I was thinking, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So what we're going to do is we're going to put this on the rotary table, which you saw me just moving, and we're going to put some holes in it. All right. So let's go over to the mill. Right, I can't really get you any closer than this. I got the Blake coaxial thing in it, so these are half thou increments. About a quarter of a thou. So the next thing, I'll move you out a bit, is to get this on there. Now, these will just fit. Hang on. Alright, we've got a little bit of a head scratcher here. I was thinking I was going to clamp it down like that, but of course I want to be able to spin this inside there to get this centered on the rotary table. So really it needs to be clamped on the outside, but of course it's bigger than the rotary table, so I can't clamp it on the outside. All I can think is, these are 5/16, they're 1/4 inch. I'm going to see if I can make up a couple of 1/4 inch bolts that will, well, let me get this out, go in the T-slots. Okay, let me think about this. Alright, so I've got some 1/2 inch bolts with some thick washers and various bits and pieces so that they fit in the T-slots, and it's on spacers so the saw will be able to go through, and I can get at this inner edge now to get this centered. So let me change this probe for the sticky out one and we'll have a go at that. Guess what? I don't have a long enough probe piece to reach here, so we're going to have to take that out, and I've got a doodad that fits onto the quill to take what do they call the one with the little pointer? Not a dial gauge, oh, whatever they call it. I've got one, let me go and find it. Alright, it's a test indicator, isn't it?
Is it? I don't know. Anyway, I have this thing that goes on here so I can spin this round. The only trouble is, unlike the Blake, it doesn't keep the dial here, so I can see both sides alright. And it's bobbling because I didn't clean the inside off, which I should have done, but never mind. This isn't to be too good. So I've got it to within about a thou going all the way around, so that's fine. Right, it's a week for the installed. I don't have a 1-inch hole saw. 1.5, 1 3/4, 3/4 with broken teeth, but I don't have a 1. And it's like 20 minutes, well, it's like 20 miles to go into Ithaca to get one. And I'm going into Ithaca on Monday, because Monday I'm taking the frame in to get all the sandblasting done, and I'm going to get my oxygen bottle changed and stuff. So we're going to call that it for this week. Yeah, can't I? There's nothing else I can do, and it's Saturday, and I spent the morning wrestling the brush hog onto the back of the tractor ready to use it tomorrow, so I'm feeling a bit puffed. So we'll call that it, and that's it. All the engine parts are ordered, the rear rim's ordered. I've just been checking, there's still no front tyres, and I mentioned it to my friend Mike when I was there yesterday, and he said yep, he knows, he's been trying to get some. So we'll see what I can do about tyres. So hopefully everything will come next week and we can really get stuck in, and then it shouldn't take too long to do it. Because I get that sandblasted next week, I can get it painted, because there's only the frame and a couple of ancillaries to do in silver. Oh, I've got to do the tank. Yeah, we've got to look at the tank, because it's fiberglass / plastic. No, I think it's fiberglass. So I want to coat it, because I never use ethanol fuel in anything, but you never know. So I've got some stuff to coat it with. I think I've got enough to do it. We'll do that, and I'll stop waffling on and let you go off. So until next week, stay safe and enjoy yourselves.